Hello, good people. Samuel here. Hello, hello, hello. All right. So I never. Let's just say it like this: the Black Lives Matter group never appealed to me, and the reason why, if if a group doesn't appeal to kind of the fact of our economic position, I'm uninterested. All right. If it's not appealing to the economic position that we're in, it is not appealing to me. When Ferguson came out, the Ferguson uprising, I was overseas, and so when I traveled back here to the U.S., I went to at that time I went to like a meeting of one of these groups that had kind of named themselves the Black Lives Matter. There was they had their own name, but then they kind of named that they're now a Black Lives Matter affiliate or chapter. So I went and wanted to bring a donation and just see what was the vibe. And the vibe wasn't really, let's just say, speaking gently, the vibe really wasn't that this was a place for straight black men. Let me just be honest. So I didn't stay the entire time I dropped my donation, I left. I just wanted to see them up close. And to my eyes, it was always a scam. All right. We're not talking about the individual chapters. We're talking about the people at the top. It was always a scam. You see, you gotta be suspicious of people who are so quick to throw people who died for you under the bus. Okay, the founders of the Black Lives Matter, the headquarters at least, the so-called foundation that it became the foundation, uh have been taking pot shots at the so-called black male leadership for years. They were part of that whole feminist project to kind of malign men who died for the community, and that's what it came down for. So if you're willing to kind of spit on people's graves of people who actually died for you just because they happen to be males or men, okay, I can't really roll with that. And the problem is you get this kind of victim stance when you go at the feminists and say, you know what, you're anti-community. They get all hurt, you know, they get all hurt. And, oh, what do you mean? You can be a feminist and you can be pro-black. You can be a feminist and be for the community. I rarely see it though. What I see is an attempt to maintain this narrative of the monstrous black man. So according to the feminists, even those men during the civil rights era, many of whom died, they were martyred. You know, they still were monsters. One of the first statements put out by the three of them bashed those martyrs. Say, okay, we're doing something new. We're not this whole model of the black male leadership. That's a corrupt model. This is what that was like their first garbage that they put out to the world once they became famous was a shot at so-called the black male leadership. We're talking about the men who died. All right, we're talking about men who died. If you have someone who's willing to spit on people's graves who of people who did something for you, who died for you, that is that a person who you should trust? Is that a person you should trust? And it's funny, for at least 3 decades, these feminists bashing these martyrs. you know. And how much better when we have this new leadership? Okay, so we had new leadership. We had a major uh, movement led by these three lesbians. Yet, this new leadership engaged in grift that far surpassed anything that I don't know of any black male leader that was accused of disappearing $60 million. I don't know any of them. I don't know any of them. Okay, you're connected to, as a civil rights activist, you're connected to the largest grift in the civil rights world ever. But I thought it was just black male leadership that is corrupt and dictatorial. And that's another thing. Everyone is complaining about your first complains about the so-called black male leaders of the 60s, how authoritarian they were. But yet everyone was complaining doing the history of this foundation of how dictatorial you are. See, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do about your gender. If you're in it for the money, if you're in it for the grift, then it doesn't matter. You can be male or females. There's men grifters, there are women grifters. So these were just grifters at the very start, using dead black people to generate money for yourself. Using dead black bodies to generate money for yourself. All right. And if you look at